Hey, Trayson. So city leaders just actually wrapped up a public safety committee meeting here at City Hall, with many city leaders still calling and pushing for answers in the wake of last week's ICE-involved shooting right here in our own backyard. Now, sources tell CBS News the agency has ordered officers nationwide to stop conducting vehicle stops during immigration enforcement operations unless they're pursuing someone considered a serious criminal threat. The policy change comes 1 week after Lorenzo Salgado was shot and killed during an ICE operation here in Houston. ICE has since acknowledged Salgado was not the intended target of that operation. Then yesterday, another man was fatally shot by ICE officers during a vehicle stop in Maine. The two incidents have intensified questions about how ICE conducts roadside enforcement operations, including the use of unmarked vehicles and the lack of body cameras. Today, members of Houston City Council's Public Safety Committee also weighed in on the decision to suspend vehicles stops during enforcements. Take a listen.
It's always good for any law enforcement agency to look at their operations and determine if it's working or not. And so I welcome them looking at it again and really streamlining their operations and their policy to make sure that everyone is safe. And we want to make sure that everyone is safe from, the ICE officials to the people who are around the vehicles and the people in the vehicles too. Everything needs to be done in the best way and in the safest way.
Now, Houston Mayor John Whitmire is expected to speak on this change coming up later this afternoon during the 2 o'clock Houston City Council meeting. Of course, we'll have coverage from that in our later newscast at 4, 5, and 6 this evening. For now, reporting live in downtown Houston, Devon Rahman, KHOU 11 News.
Devon, thank you. Today marks 1 week since Lorenzo Salgado was killed by an ICE agent, and local leaders are still pushing for answers. And now members of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus are getting involved. KHOU 11's Jalissa Garza is with us live in studio. And Jalissa, you have the very latest.
Yeah, that's right, Trayson. A week later, Harris County District Attorney Sean Tier says no one on the state level knows who the agents involved were or where they are now. And this morning in Washington, Congresswoman Sylvia Garcia joined members of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus to call for more oversight and an independent investigation. Garcia represents the district where the shooting happened in Houston's East End. And today in Washington, D.C., she called for congressional oversight, saying lawmakers need to continue demanding every report, photo, video, communication, and piece of evidence in this case. The Congressional Hispanic Caucus also announced plans for a field hearing in Houston later this month to hear from witnesses, examine the facts, and demand answers.
The situation demands a real independent investigation, not one from its own internal OIG. The family has suffered unimaginable loss. They should not have to fight the federal government just to learn about what happened to their husband, father, and brother.
Meanwhile, the Harris County District Attorney's Office is also conducting its own parallel investigation. Sean Tier says his office is trying to get access to every shred of evidence it can. The DA's office has received more than 100 communications through its tip portal. Tier is asking people to send in what they have, whether or not they think it is relevant. And HPD Chief Noe Diaz is also set to meet with the FBI Director today to discuss the case. Of course, we'll continue following whether local officials get any more access to the evidence in this investigation. Trayson?
Jalissa, thank you so much for that. All right. Meanwhile, Texas DPS says it is not currently involved in the investigation into the shooting of Lorenzo Salgado. In a letter, the Houston area lawmakers, the agency says neither federal nor local authorities have asked it to investigate or provide assistance. DPS says the Texas Rangers do have authority to investigate crimes statewide and have reviewed federal officer-related incidents and shootings in the past when requested. All right, new at noon.